Hey guys, I wanted to take some time to talk about stock photography demand. And I want to kind of point out some things, maybe some different images, and kind of go through this with you so that maybe that you can see this a different kind of light. The demand related to certain images only refers to how much desire there is for a particular image. Like if I go to Adobe Stock, right, and I search the word church, think about the demographic, the type of person that would search for a photo like that. I can immediately think of like maybe a few groups, right? And there are probably many. But somebody who's building a website for a church, that could be someone, right? It could be someone who runs a church, who's maybe works for a church. You know, maybe they're creating websites or graphics for a church. Maybe they're creating flyers for a church, maybe a church festival or something like that. Now think of something related to inclusion, right? So inclusion is this concept a lot in the more of the Western hemisphere, really, of the world. You know, the West. Ideas in, the United Kingdom, America. There are these ideas where everybody's included. They're really more so in the United States, but like this idea that all nations, all nationalities, all people, regardless of gender, regardless of identity, whatever you want to call it, are included in this idea. And you can see, different examples of people like with all different skin colors. You have Caucasians, you have, blacks, probably some Hispanics in there, whatever the case may be, based on their skin tone. So a concept of inclusion right now, because of the certain times that we're in, has really high demand, right? You got people like HR companies and websites and things like that, websites that are run by either HR people, who are responsible for the design of a website or updating different policies and terms, or even, different, businesses or, there's so many different basically opportunities for someone to search for inclusion. Like I said, it's kind of, I don't want to say a trend right now, but it's definitely something that is focused on, right, in the corporate world, inclusion, this idea of inclusion. In fact, I think I was looking at some laws that were passed recently around how certain companies have to have a certain amount of people around certain races and certain cultures, which is inclusion, right? You're including everybody, every gender, every race, etc. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just simply mentioning something that's in demand. Obviously, you have your own thoughts about it. It is what it is. These kind of subjects are a little touchy. Anyways, the point is that this image, right, this church kind of image, definitely, or even this query, somebody who's searching for images related to a church, has much less demand than images like inclusion, And something we teach in the Superstock AI course, which I'll leave a link in the description if you guys want to check it out, where we teach everybody how to create stock images, a whole business around it, selling these stock images through different stock photography sites very, very quickly, low rejections, create tons of images, title and tag faster than ever before, things like that. So, these are kind of the pillars of the whole concept of the course. But anyways, something we teach in the course is that there are some images that are not going to be high demand, but you can consistently make them to have a consistent flow of income. I'll give you an example, right? There are certain niches, right, kind of like inclusion, that dramatically rise in demand. So, for example, if we looked back, right, a long time ago, let's just say 15 years ago, inclusion wasn't something that really was spoken about. If stock photography was to exist, which it was 15 years ago, it did exist. But let's just say it didn't, or it did, right? Which it did, but not at the same level it is now. There wouldn't be much demand for it, or nearly as much as there is today. The concept of a church, right? It's something that's relatively consistent. It's more evergreen. Religions are never going to die. Churches are never going to die. Once again, this has a lot to do with politics and things, but certain concepts are never going to change. So I'll give you an example. Like this picture related to food, pictures of apples. Think about, once again, who is the ideal consumer behind this image. You look at this, you say, okay, maybe a farmer who sells apples. Maybe somebody who's trying to create a flyer for a farmer's market. Maybe it's somebody who's creating a recipe book and wants pictures of the ingredients inside the recipe book. You know, there's so many different opportunities as to who would want it. But when you think of the ideal customer, the person who's taking that download and downloading that image, you can kind of gauge and understand search demand. Adobe Stock nor any other company comes out and gives you certain numbers of demand that represent certain keywords. They don't do that. But we can do so just by understanding where the world is at and where the world is moving, right? If there are certain topics that are being discussed, people create images around those, at least some high performers. With that being said, I don't want to sit here and say that you should only focus on high demand images, right? This is not the way to go long term. You need to have, at least in my opinion, and this is the way I teach things, like I said, is you need to have this broad range, the spectrum of different content. And what I mean by that is, like, it doesn't matter what you're using, Midjourney or Leonardo AI. If you're doing AI, you know, if you're doing AI, if you're a photographer and you go out there, it's a different kind of story. But if you're doing AI, you need to have, at least in my opinion, a broad range of different images. It's like people say, "Oh, what niche should I create images in?" And I really say, don't focus on the niche, because at the end of the day, you're going to be posting so many images. One image is not going to make you; it's not going to break you. Like, if I don't post that one image right today, that it's not going to break me. I still have portfolios of thousands, tens of thousands of images uploaded. But also, one image is not going to make me either. So if I have 100 images and I'm thinking, oh, is this one image special? Should I upload it? It's not going to make me. It's not going to make me all my money either. You'll see over time is that these images are pretty, in terms of income, you're not going to have one that's going to blow everything else out of the water. You might have a category or a niche that blows the other niches out of the water, but just having one single image in your portfolio that you think is going to be the very reason why you break free or become financially free or something like that, that's not going to be the case. At least 99.9% of the time, right? Obviously, there's a very small population of people that may get quote-unquote lucky. But, we're talking to the majority here. The people who are listening, right? We're average folk. The reality is we usually don't hit the lottery. There are people who hit the lottery. But if we're talking to the majority of people, most people don't have that lucky hit where one image has made more than the whole entire rest of the portfolio. Very rarely happens, if it does. I know I can't tell you it happened to me because it never does happen to me. I always have this consistent, slow flow of income. With that being said, this is, like I said, one of those businesses where you have people that might think that trends are the key or niches are the key. It's like, no, just create as much as you can, especially if you're focused on the long game. If you're focused on the long term, like let's say you commit to yourself for a year of uploading. If you're going to upload every single day for a year, let's say, to Adobe Stock and other sites related, are you going to sit there and just upload trends? Because what happens is that those trends eventually die off. That's why they're called a trend. They're trending at that moment. And then later they're going to die off. So images that have consistent need or consistent demand and consistent desire, although may be lower than a trending concept, still might lead to tremendous success. And the reason why I say that is because there's power in consistency. There's power in the idea of doing things relatively consistent. So when you have this portfolio that's developed over time consistently, right, in all kinds of different niches, one day an image sells, one day another image doesn't. And the bigger your portfolio is, the more money you can make. And you'll be amazed. Like, you can get to the point where you have 100,000 plus uploads. You're generating a decent full-time income for, let's just say, at least 50% of the world, 50% of the world's needs. Wherever country you go to, you'll be able to support yourself. And there's a lot of people listening from all kinds of different countries. You built that not because of luck or because of trends, but you built it because of consistency. And so if you want to play the consistent game where you do want to upload every day, then don't chase the very quick dollar. You can upload to trends if you want, but also make sure you have that flow of things that are constant in desire. So what are some things that are constantly in desire? I'll give you a few examples. You have pictures of food, right? So food in terms of all categories: fruits, vegetables, meals, all kinds of different stuff. In fact, I actually want to show you. I was creating this tutorial where I was showing people how I was using this automation tool for Midjourney. And I'm not going to, talk too much about it because I have it in the members area, which is if you go to our channel, let me just kind of show you what I mean. If I go to YouTube here and I'll go to autopilot passive, autopilot passive income, right? We look up the channel, we click on it, and let's go to videos. And if I go over here and I just type in /join at the end of like the username kind of thing, the domain, there's like this, there should be, well, if you're at home, basically, here, let me try to do it like this. Let me go here and type it in here, hit enter, and there should be like this box that pops up, or basically, if you remember, you'll see this. These 5 videos I created around Midjourney automation. People who are in the course also get these videos, so no worries about that. But these videos here, I kind of showed like the certain automation tools that I have. I'll also be creating like a in the description like where to get the tool, because it's a private person who developed these tools, and he doesn't have a website or anything like that. I just bought it off of him because I found him in a forum. But anyways, these were images created through automation. Like I didn't sit here and make these images myself. I didn't sit here and type the prompts. These were all created for me. In fact, if I go to organize here, and this was all for the tutorial, like I said, because this is a demo account on Midjourney. I think I've created, thousands of images. But anyways, you look at images like this. This is pictures of food. Usually, like, it's very rare. We're talking about striking lightning in a bottle. It's just, it's very rare where an image like this will will start trending. Not even the image, but the niche. It's very rare. So what these images are is these images lead to consistent sales. It might not be a lot, right? There's a lot of other niches that have a lot more demand. So what's an example of some niches that there's, a consistent amount of demand? It might be low, but it's consistent. Food is one thing. Animals, nature, right? Beverages. I mean, there's so many different niches. In fact, like if you're just curious, you want to figure out different niches, go to Adobe Stock here. And you see discover popular stock photography categories and themes. Literally all these things. Logos is an example, right? Like you look at an image like this, or where is it here? Let me kind of scroll down. I'll show you. These are all various images of like related to Tiger basketball, right? All these different images. These were test images, by the way. These are not necessarily related to automation. These were automated images. These pictures of like fur, right? Of different animals. And, like something like this, if I upload, let's just say over the course of the next year, right, this year, the next 365 days, if I'm uploading, let's just say 1,000 Tiger logos, well, people might look at that and say, oh my God, that's a lot just for tigers. Well, no, you got to put that in perspective with everything else that I'm doing. I may be uploading 1,000 tiger logos, but I might also upload 1,000, flamingo images. I might upload also, 500 different images of a picture of, some shrimp on a plate. These things do vary. I can put different things that vary, and I don't need to upload them all in one day either. But the point is that it's consistent. So it might not necessarily trend, but the demand is there, and there is consistency there, right? And this is another argument that people like to say is like, well, why would somebody download the image from you on Adobe Stock or any other stock photography site when they could just make it themselves? Well, I know I agree with what you're saying. Like, first of all, they could make it themselves, but the stats don't show that. The stats show that people are still downloading from stock photography sites, and they're paying for subscriptions. I think Adobe last year, I forget how much they made. I think like 19 billion or something like that. I could be drastically off. Adobe stock earnings or revenue. Adobe earning or Adobe revenue. Let me see here. 11.7 billion. So I was right. 19 billion. Yes. I was right. 2023. 19 billion, right? And I think out of their Adobe stock, stock photography generated something like 500 million, something like that. Let me see here. Adobe stock revenue. Let's see. This is the stock price. This is not stock photography. So let's see, stock photography. It's a huge business for them, to be honest. I forget where I saw it, but I know I saw it somewhere. I think I could be wrong, but I think it was like 500 million, 555 million, something like that, 558 million. I don't remember the exact number, but there's a lot of money in this business, right? So if other people are making money, all I have to ask myself is, are other people making money? Can I make the money, right? Even other sites like VectEasy, 123RF, Pond5, these are different websites that I could potentially, not necessarily for AI, I mean, AI is part of it, but these are different sites that I can tap into and make money. And the reason why I say that is because I know other people are making money, right? So, it's easy to do. And not, if you're an owner of a company too, or not even a company, but let's just say you're an employee of a company. Your job as an HR person to create, let's just say, a website or something, or maintain a website with images and stuff like that. Or let's say you're a graphic designer. Sometimes you don't go for the cheapest option, which the cheapest option is probably paying some sort of subscription to a tool like this and creating your own images, right? But sometimes they don't do that. And like I said, the results kind of prove, the financials kind of prove. Some people who are watching this who are maybe new to this kind of concept and have watched my channel for a long time, and you're thinking about getting into this, and you might think like, okay, how does this compare to print on demand? With print on demand, it's a much harder sell, and I've spoken about this before, but somebody who's buying a picture of a logo, somebody who's buying a picture of, an image or whatever the case, like let's say they're going to buy this picture of this pasta here. This is an image, right, where it counts as a token, and those tokens are in the cost of a subscription cost. Sometimes the subscription cost is unlimited, sometimes it's not. But the point is that somebody might pay $30, for example, to Adobe Stock, right? And I get a piece of that payment per download. And they don't look at it like they're buying necessarily this image for X amount of dollars. They look at it like they get to buy or download X amount of images. It could be 100, it could be 10, it could be whatever, depending on the plan they're paying for, and they pay X amount. So it's a much easier sell to get into stock photography and make money doing it, as opposed to print on demand. Print on demand is great. Don't get me wrong. You guys have seen me. I've made over 1,000 videos on print on demand. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. You see here, I have 1,300 plus videos on this channel. Print on demand is phenomenal, and it's good. But the people who listen to me, who watch my channel in the past, know that I still do, and I go very hard on print on demand. Stock photography is, in terms of sales, it's a little bit quicker. In terms of downloads, it's a little bit quicker, right? Earnings, a little bit quicker, but it requires more time. I can create one print-on-demand design that might sell something for $6 of profit and something for $2.25 and then $11 the next day, right? Depending on the product that's sold. For stock photography, I mean, you're going to be earning anywhere from like, let's say, a penny to, let's say, $1 per download. I mean, obviously you could earn a little bit more, but that's what you're kind of looking at. So it requires more consistency. All right, guys. Hopefully this video helps out. I know I talked for a long time, but like I said, hopefully it's beneficial to you guys. I'll see you guys soon. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check out the Superstock AI course if you need a guide, a helping hand through it. Really, it's just my library of the information that I've learned along the way. And like I said, if you have questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'll be happy to answer them. And I'll see you soon. All right. Peace out. Bye.